Of all the tricks that Mother Nature throws at us, tsunamis are widely considered one of the most devastating. They occur rather infrequently, so people are often caught off guard when they do. Tsunami waves can range in size greatly. While most are under 10 feet by the time they reach land, some have measured as high as 100 feet, with a select few even going far beyond that. Join us as we take a look at the 5 tallest tsunami waves in all of recorded history. Within the snow-covered terrain of British Columbia lies the West Grenville Glacier. Now, back on November 28th of 2020, an enormous landslide occurred near this area following days of heavy rainfall. Roughly 24 million cubic yards of material slid into a glacier lake at the head of Elliott Creek, creating a 330-foot or roughly 100-meter-high megatsunami. The wave quickly traveled down Elliott Creek to the head of the Butte Inlet, covering a total distance of roughly 37 miles or 60 kilometers. The damage from this event was catastrophic, with over 5 miles or 8.5 kilometers of salmon habitat being destroyed. Mud, logs, and debris quickly spread across nearby land, covering it entirely. An investigation determined that the landslide fell over 1,000 meters before reaching the water. That, combined with the large volume of material that collapsed, is what ultimately led to the power and size of the wave. Some good news, though, is that the area is extremely isolated and rural, so nobody was injured in this freak force of nature. Tsunamis occur from a variety of causes, but one of the most extreme yet rare are from asteroid impacts. History is filled with several known examples of when this happened, and the waves that were produced were nothing short of gigantic. One of the first known to occur happened roughly 66 million years ago. An asteroid that was anywhere between 6.8 to 50.3 miles in diameter hit in the Yucatan Peninsula, leaving behind what is known as the Chicxulub impact crater. The massive impact produced a megatsunami that was over 100 meters high. Worse yet, scientists believe that if the asteroid had hit an area of ocean that was deeper, the wave would have been a mind-boggling 2.9 miles or 4.6 kilometers high. Fallout from this disaster can be seen by studying mega ripples in Louisiana via seismic imaging data. Also, the immediate impact caused a sort of seismic shockwave through the Earth, which further triggered landslides in a bunch of locations. Many of those landslides went on to create megatsunamis of their own, further adding to the devastation. For the creatures at the time, it was a devastating day, and one that would be even worse if it happened today. Volcanic eruptions occur all over our planet, with some areas being more active than others. Indonesia is one such area that may come to mind, but another that should not be overlooked is Japan. The country is located on the border of 3 tectonic plates, making it prone to earthquakes. On top of that, they're also within the Ring of Fire. Put these two together, and you're bound to experience an event like this one that occurred back in 1792. Mount Unzen is an active volcanic group near the city of Shimabara, Nagasaki. Back in 1792, records show a number of earthquakes occurring in the region. This constant seismic activity caused one of the lava domes to collapse into the ocean, triggering a mega tsunami that shocked nearby communities. Many had never seen one before and were unprepared when it hit. In total, roughly 14,000 people lost their lives that day, and it is still considered to be Japan's worst volcanic-related disaster. One thing that made this tsunami especially deadly was the fact that it struck the Higo province on the other side of the Ariake Bay. Then, it bounced back and hit Shimabara again. Experts believe that the wave reached a height of over 100 meters, or more specifically, just north of 330 feet. Given the nearby geography, it would mean it theoretically could have traveled for miles inland. Throughout the history of the United States, there have been several prominent volcanic events, but none quite as memorable as the eruption of Mount Saint Helens. It all began in the year 1980. There was activity at the volcano for some time prior to the big day, but still, geologists and spectators were unprepared for exactly what was to come. When the volcano did blow, it led to extreme devastation for nearby towns and communities. But one of the more lesser-known facts is that it also created what is believed to be the largest recorded landslide in modern times. When the side of the mountain broke free, it fell directly into Spirit Lake, a short distance from the base of the volcano. As the huge mass of Earth crashed into the lake, it produced a tsunami that measured 260 meters, or roughly 860 feet above the lake. Inland tsunamis like this are one of the rarest natural disasters on Earth. However, even with 860 feet of water moving at an incredible rate, it would eventually be overtaken by the fiery cloud of ash that spewed out of the mountain. This mixture of water and ash created some of the most devastating mud flows, clogging rivers and leaving a disgusting sludge behind that would take months to solidify. After 20 years, Spirit Lake was able to fill back up and is now monitored. Should the volcano erupt again, it's unlikely that it would lead to such a wave, given that the face of the volcano that collapsed is no longer there. But truthfully, only time can tell. 17 years before the Mount Saint Helens disaster, another inland tsunami occurred in the beautiful country of Italy. Following the end of World War II, Italy began to undertake a number of construction projects, including the building of Genoa's fateful Morandi Bridge, which was a hydroelectric dam about 100 kilometers north of Venice. Prior to the dam's construction, there were numerous warnings issued that the mountain above it, Monte Toc, was unstable. As construction was underway, there were numerous warning signs such as tremors and landslides to back up the theory, but these were mostly ignored. As a safety measure, the water level was lowered in the reservoir behind the dam, a decision that would end up spelling disaster. On October 9th of 1963, a massive landslide sent mounds of earth plummeting into the reservoir below. The impact sent a huge wave of water shooting 250 meters above the dam just before sweeping down the valley and destroying every village in its path. Witness accounts were hard to come by though, since most of the people in the line of impact died, around 80% of them in a handful of villages along the valley floor. Some 350 families were wiped out altogether. Investigations later determined the landslide to be triggered by the lowering of the water level along with heavy rainfall. The immense weight of the water and earth could no longer be supported by the mountain. The tsunami displaced the air with a force that was supposedly more powerful than an atomic bomb. Of all the tsunamis in history, few have reached into the thousands of feet. But it has happened. Most of them occurred from asteroid impacts long before our time. But there was one in particular that was not from an asteroid, rather a landslide. And it occurred in modern times. Located far in Alaska exists a fjord known as Lituya Bay. Back on a calm and cool July night in 1958, a massive tremor struck the area and triggered a landslide which fell roughly 3,000 feet into the water below. In total, investigators have determined that 30.6 million cubic meters of rock fell. This caused a massive torrent of water to shoot skywards, forming a monstrous wave that measured an astounding 1,720 feet, or 524 meters in height. As it rushed through the fjord, it removed all of the trees and vegetation along the slopes. Millions of trees were uprooted and swept away by the wave. Due to how sparsely populated the area is, 5 people sadly lost their lives. But with a wave of this size, the devastation could easily have been much worse. Well, that about wraps things up for this video. If you enjoyed it and want to see more just like it, then be sure to click the link on screen now. With that said, thank you all for watching, and be sure to tune in next time.